Breaking news here on a Monday morning. CBS Sports HQ, Mike McCarthy agrees to terms to be the new Dallas Cowboys head coach. Won a Super Bowl in 2010 with the Green Bay Packers. Has a 61% winning percentage. Mike McCarthy going to take over for Jason Garrett, who's not retained after 10 seasons in Dallas. The Cowboys went 8-8 this past year, did not make the playoffs. And with more on this breaking news, let's turn to the man who's confirmed it for us, going to deliver it and break it all down. Patrick Walker here on CBS Sports HQ, our Cowboys insider. What more can you tell us, Patrick, on how this all went down?
Well, here's what we know, Tommy. I was told on Friday afternoon that Mike McCarthy was headed here to Dallas to speak with the Dallas Cowboys in regards to their head coaching vacancy. Now, the caveat being there was not a vacancy at that point. Obviously, the Cowboys had yet to formally move on from longtime head coach Jason Garrett, but the expectation had always been that they would do just that. And speaking with McCarthy pretty much formalized what was to come, and everyone knew was coming down the pike. Now, McCarthy also interviewed with the Cowboys in the same time span as longtime former Bengals head coach Marvin Lewis. Now, I was told at the time that the Marvin Lewis interview was less of a head coaching candidacy interview and more so of a potential coordinator spot. So we'll see how that plays out going forward. Maybe McCarthy is presented with Lewis as a possible defensive coordinator candidate, but that's yet to be determined. What we do know is the Cowboys have definitively offered and agreed to terms with Mike McCarthy. So that will bring him in 2020 going forward.
I know that this news is relatively fresh, but again, the Mike McCarthy conversation has at least been talked about, you mentioned, through the weekend. Give me a sense of Cowboy Nation. How excited are they about a potential Mike McCarthy deal here now that we know he's going to be the guy? Where would you rate it in a level like 1 to 10 in terms of excitement?
I think the excitement is a strong 8. I think there's still some reservation as far as Mike McCarthy having not made it to the big game in quite a while. But the fact is he has, in fact, made it to and won the big game with Aaron Rodgers. So he's a proven head coach. And for those that are wondering if he's going to be fluent in analytics going forward, he's made it clear after taking a year off from coaching that he is, in fact, going to adopt analytics and make that a key part in his coaching prowess going forward. That's something that the Cowboys have not done so well at in recent memory, and they were very clear in 2019 in that they, for the most part, have been dismissive of analytics in the NFL. So I think that alone is going to make McCarthy ingratiate himself very quickly into the Cowboys fandom and the media as a whole. I think that the marriage is going to be a good one. It did happen fairly quickly, and that is pretty much a testament to how great the interview was with McCarthy. I was told after the news broke that if McCarthy's interview did not go well, the news on Jason Garrett would not have been announced on yesterday. So that tells you exactly how all in the Cowboys are on Mike McCarthy to turn away from some of the other top candidates that they had an eye on.
Patrick, you would have to assume that offense, of course, with Mike McCarthy was talked about in a plan for the offensive weapons that he has. And I know there's a lot of contract stuff that still has to be sorted out, but just sort of on the field, what do you anticipate a Mike McCarthy-Dak Prescott relationship will be like moving forward?
I think it's going to be a promising one. You look at McCarthy, and he knows how to deal with big personalities. You talk about Aaron Rodgers and some of the talent that went through Green Bay. He's not going to necessarily have that issue with Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is definitely a professional, both on and off the field, and that's not to say that Rodgers is not, but Dak Prescott is a totally different personality when it comes to how he handles his coaches, how he believes in his coaches, and how he handles himself on the field based on plays that are being called, even if the plays are not necessarily great ones. So I think Dak Prescott being more of a middle-of-the-line personality, albeit an alpha in his competitive nature, that's going to do very well with Mike McCarthy. And I think those two will have a great future going forward. They're set up for success with, if they can retain Amari Cooper, go ahead and extend Dak Prescott. You got Michael Gallup coming off of a breakout season. You got Ezekiel Elliott in the backfield. Tune up some key pieces on that defense, and the Cowboys are cooking with grease.
Patrick, what does this say in terms of Jerry Jones? We know at least that there were interest from college coaches. We know the NFL has been trending toward younger coordinators. And yet here we are with a veteran head coach with a Super Bowl ring. But what does this say about Jerry Jones going with a guy like Mike McCarthy?
You know what it says, Tommy? It tells me what I spoke about a few weeks ago, in that going into this coaching search, it continually felt like this was a situation similar to back when the Cowboys reached out to Bill Parcells and wooed him out of retirement. The Cowboys had to swing big, and yes, they had love for and continue to have love for Lincoln Riley. Matt Rule was going to be a top candidate, someone like Urban Meyer, those collegiate minds. But at the end of the day, Jerry Jones himself said early 2019 he doesn't have time for a bad time, end quote. He's 77 years old. He's staring down the barrel of his own mortality, and he knows that this might be the last chance he gets at winning the 6th Super Bowl. So he had to get this hire right. He doesn't have time for necessarily another progress or another process, which was the key phrase for Jason Garrett's tenure with the Cowboys. Mike McCarthy comes in already proven, no process needed. All he needs to do is figure out his staff, which is something that the Cowboys are going to have to figure out as well, because not all of their coaching assistants are free agents. So you still have Kellen Moore under contract, Sanjay Lau, the wide receivers coach, and from there, Mark Colombo, offensive line coach. So still some things to figure out, but all in all, looks like a good marriage on paper.
All right, got one more before I let you go here, Patrick. So how do you determine Mike McCarthy's first season as a success? What do the Dallas Cowboys have to do to say that 2020 is indeed a success for them?
Well, McCarthy comes in a very tenuous time, for lack of a better way to put it, with the Cowboys. The Cowboys and their fandom, they want to see immediate success. There's no grace period here for McCarthy. He's going to have to come in, and at minimum, I believe a success would be NFC divisional round. I think that's reasonable. I think anything less than that would be a disappointment, considering his talent that he's going into the 2020 season with, considering what he's proven as an NFL head coach. And like I said, he's mentioning that he's going to inherit, or I should say ingratiate, analytics into his fold going forward. So I think that if he makes it to at least the NFC divisional round, that's going to be a green stamp or a rubber stamp on the Cowboys making this decision. Anything short of that, going to have a ton of question marks on if they made the right hire or not.
All right, Patrick Walker, a Cowboys insider, delivering the breaking news that Mike McCarthy on his way to the Dallas Cowboys. Patrick, good stuff as always. Been all over it the past week or so here on HQ. Appreciate it as always, pal.
Thanks for having me.
When we come back, more of the breaking news. Mike McCarthy to the Cowboys. I talked to Pete Prisco about this yesterday. He said it was a good idea at the time. He's going to explain why when we come back.